A crowded Target parking lot, families loading groceries, shopping carts rattling across the pavement, children laughing. It looked like the safest place imaginable. Then a young mother whispered a single word, "Help." Seconds later, she was dead. Witnesses watched in horror as a man calmly approached 25-year-old Heather Strube in broad daylight. He wasn't running. He wasn't hiding. He walked directly toward her. Then he pulled the trigger. The killer turned around and casually walked away, disappearing into the crowd while Heather collapsed beside her SUV. And sitting just a few feet away was her 19-month-old son, still strapped into his car seat, still waiting for his mother. But the strangest part of this story wasn't how Heather died. It was who killed her. To everyone who knew Heather Strube, she was impossible to forget. Friends described her as bright, the kind of person who made every room feel warmer. She owned a floral shop and loved being a mother. Her son Carson was the center of her world. But behind the smiles, Heather's life was changing. Her marriage to high school sweetheart, Stephen Strube, was falling apart. Years of stress, business pressures, and personal struggles had pushed the couple toward divorce. By 2009, they were locked in a bitter custody battle. Still, neither side could have imagined where that conflict was heading. On April 26, 2009, Heather met Stephen at a Target parking lot in Snellville, Georgia. It was supposed to be routine, a custody exchange, nothing more. Just before 6 p.m., Stephen dropped off Carson and drove away. Minutes later, witnesses noticed a thin man walking toward Heather's SUV. Something felt wrong. One witness later said it looked like Heather knew the man. Another remembered seeing fear in her face. As Heather tried to get into her vehicle, the stranger blocked her path. Then came the word, "Help." A single gunshot echoed across the parking lot. The killer walked away. Not rushed, not panicked, almost as if he knew nobody would stop him. Detectives quickly realized this wasn't a robbery. Nothing had been stolen. There was no struggle. Heather had been targeted. Witnesses kept repeating the same bizarre detail. The killer looked fake. A fake mustache. Possibly a wig. One witness described it as something that looked almost ridiculous, like a disguise from a movie. Surveillance footage captured the suspect walking away with a distinctive stride. A K-9 tracked the scent behind the shopping center toward a nearby hotel before losing it. The trail had gone cold. But someone out there had planned this, and someone knew exactly where Heather would be. Investigators focused on the small group of people who knew about the custody exchange. Stephen was an obvious person of interest. So was Heather's boyfriend. But both men had alibis. Then a truck driver staying at the hotel came forward. Hours before the murder, he had noticed someone wearing a wig and fake mustache near the parking lot. The person was driving a white Ford F-150 with distinctive black trim. Detectives traced the truck. The owner shocked them. It belonged to Stephen's mother, Joanna Hayes. At first, the idea seemed impossible. A grandmother? A mother? A woman in her 40s? Could she really be the disguised gunman everyone had been searching for? Then investigators showed Stephen's surveillance footage from the Target parking lot. They showed him the sketch. His reaction was immediate. His face drained of color. Then he whispered words detectives would never forget. Holy crap. Oh my God. He believed he recognized the killer, his own mother. Joanna denied everything, again and again. Even when her son confronted her. Even when investigators uncovered evidence connecting her truck to the crime. Even when witnesses identified her. She never admitted guilt. But prosecutors believed they knew the motive. Joanna had become obsessed with controlling her grandson's life. She wanted influence. She wanted control. And Heather stood in the way. In 2011, a jury found Joanna Hayes guilty of murder. She was sentenced to life in prison. Years have passed since that afternoon in the Target parking lot. The fake mustache, the disguise, the lies, all of it eventually unraveled. But one person continues to live with the consequences. Carson, the little boy who sat helplessly in the back seat while his mother took her final breath. He was too young to understand what happened, too young to remember her voice, too young to know why she never came home. A crowded parking lot, a fake disguise, a grandmother hiding behind a mustache, and a little boy whose entire future changed. And if you enjoy cold cases, unsolved mysteries, and true crime stories that were finally solved years later, subscribe for more.